There's so much I could say, but I'm just gonna kind of simplify it. This day is not about me. It's about the people here, but it does kind of, it makes you scratch your head sometimes. It makes you really have to wonder, forget as a journalist, which I'm a journalist, but I'm a human being first. I've been here, this is my 21st trip to Flint, if you'll believe that. I've been here 21 times since 2016. I've been staying on this for 8 years. I have been here on holidays. I've been here more times than I could count, really. I've lost friends of mine who became friends because I've interviewed them so many times, or I've, after interviews, gone out with them to get a meal or a beer, Flint residents. And something he said really stood out to me. We live in this society that you're just flooded all the time with information and content and stimulation, whether it's TikTok or Twitter or YouTube, right now, how I'm talking to you, you know, and podcasts, and I mean, there's so many other things that I'm probably forgetting. We're all just consumed nonstop by information and events and crises. I mean, I literally just looked down at my phone and I got a tweet about protesters at a pro-Palestine protest somewhere on campus are in a clash with police. And it's so hard to keep our minds focused on any one thing because we just have nonstop more things coming at us. And I think in a way, technology has been great, but technology also distracts us. Technology also makes us forget sometimes. Actually, technology makes us forget all the time. There used to be 3 shows. There used to be 3 networks. There's no such thing as podcasts or social media. I'm sorry if I'm sounding like a grandpa, but the point I'm making is maybe 20 years ago, you wouldn't be able to forget that an American city was poisoned, not 50 years ago, 10 years ago today. That wouldn't be able to just get swept under the rug. But now people become numb to things. You know, I remember it literally yesterday. We were in East Palestine, Ohio, and we'll be releasing those videos. And they're going through their version of Flint with the railroad blowing up the trains, chemically nuking the trains. And I was interviewing a grandma, and she complimented us on our work on Flint and that we've kept cover of this. And she said to me, I just thought it was fixed because I stopped hearing about it. Let me repeat. She said, I just thought it was fixed because I stopped hearing about it. That's why this is fucking important. I don't care if I don't care if we're live to 100 million people or 100 people. I prefer 100 million people, obviously. And obviously we're not live to that many people for a lot of reasons. Most of them due to Google and YouTube. But there's a sickness in society if essentially genocide, this is a genocide. It's a slower moving genocide than bombs or drones or missiles killing 35,000 Palestinians in 6 months. But make no mistake, when you poison people and they slowly die and you leave them to slowly die with no justice, with no free health care, you don't replace the pipes. In 10 years, they have not replaced all of the pipes in this city. In the streets, they haven't replaced the pipes. In the homes, they haven't replaced the pipes. They've only replaced the pipes from the curb into the home, and they haven't even replaced all of those pipes. That is a genocide. And it's a quieter version. That's what happened in Love Canal, where they buried it for so long. I get people reaching out to me who lived in the Gulf with the BP oil spill that are sick. When's the last time you heard the media talk about the BP oil spill? We could go down the list. I fully admit, there's probably thousands of communities with water issues, air issues, soil issues that I've never heard of. But there's a sickness in society if people are just, if our system, our government and our media essentially make genocides disappear, make poisonings disappear, normalize genocide, normalize environmental genocide. That's what this is. They have normalized poisoning people, covering it up, spending millions on public relations and marketing to pretend it's a recovery, and the water's fine now. It's just about building trust, rebuilding trust. The water's not fine. And as you'll find out in our documentary, which comes out on Sunday online, you'll be able to watch it online on flintfatigue.com. Cancer is through the roof here. Cancer is through the roof. Certain cancers are up 300 to 500%. Not a thing is being done about it. The state health department is trying to cover that up too. The same health department that covered up the water was toxic in the first place. And all the politicians that did not warn these people, did not notify them that their water was toxic, they right now are out enjoying their lives. They are free. This is why I continue to cover it 10 years later, and I'll probably be here 10 years from now. God willing, something will be different. But probably not. The only thing I can say, the only thing left to say is I truly believe, I've been going around the country for the last 8 years. I've covered a lot of things, water, fights against pipelines, the indigenous-led fight in North Dakota at Standing Rock. I've covered worker exploitation. I've covered union drives. I've covered worker strikes. I've covered poverty. I've covered homelessness. I mean, I covered a lot of things. And I truly believe that based on my experience and thousands of people I've met, thousands of people I've interviewed or talked to off camera, I don't care if you're a tree-hugging communist. I don't care if you're a rock-ribbed, steak-eating, Trump-loving conservative. I don't care if you're a anarchist, down with the government, burn it down. I don't care what you are. If you're a Hillary Clinton-loving neoliberal, if you are a politically agnostic and don't give a shit, whatever you are, whatever label, whatever philosophy, I truly believe, based on what I've seen, that most people, not all people, but most people, are not lacking compassion. Most people do care if they know about things like this. Most people have no fucking idea what is going on all around them. How is it that in one state over from here, Ohio, I spoke with a woman yesterday who told me, I thought Flint was fixed because I never hear about it. How does that happen in America with all the information we have, that people just assume it's fixed because they don't see it? People right now probably believe East Palestine is fixed because they haven't heard about that in 6 months, because the media is too busy covering the polls. The media is too busy covering the threat to democracy of Trump. What democracy? The media is literally covering 24/7 right now a trial about Trump paying off a porn star. The media is literally fixated on an election 3 years before the election is even held. Our election coverage now begins 2.5 to 3 years before the election. CNN is a multi-billion-dollar company. There is no one from CNN here today. NBC is owned by Comcast, a multi-billion-dollar company. There's no one here. They haven't been here. The Detroit News, which is one of the biggest media outlets in Michigan. Do you know what they published today? This is not The Onion. What I'm telling you is true. They literally published an opinion story, an opinion piece, on the 10th anniversary of the Flint water crisis, written by former Governor Rick Snyder. Let me repeat. The Detroit News published an op-ed from the governor who, based on my reporting, was the quarterback of the poisoning of this community. They published his op-ed, not about Flint, about restoring tax cuts for wealthy people. That's a Michigan outlet that did that. The Detroit News, the Detroit Free Press, the Flint Journal, they will not investigate Flint. They won't report on the details of the biggest government cover-up of the 21st century. My book is coming out this summer. I'm not trying to promote myself, but my book is called We the Poisoned. It comes out in August. We the Poisoned, exposing the Flint water crisis cover-up and the poisoning of 100,000 Americans. I believe, and I have shown it to people that I trust their judgment, the Flint water cover-up makes Watergate look like a walk in the park. No one died from Watergate. The Flint water cover-up makes name your government cover-up look like child's play. Look like kumbaya. And most Americans and most people in Flint don't know the details of it because the media exists to cover it up. The stories that were published today on the 10-year anniversary are not about the cover-up. They're not about the fact that residents here don't have universal free health care. They're not about teens committing suicide. There's an increase in teen suicide here. They're not about the state attorney general sabotaging the criminal investigation. They're about the schools. They're about very vague, vanilla things, about regaining trust. Do you know how many times I have brought to the Detroit Free Press, the Detroit News, the Flint Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Daily Beast, the Associated Press, Reuters, ProPublica, Mother Jones, BuzzFeed News? I could write a whole book just on the media. I have brought them, not my opinion, facts, documents from the criminal investigation, confidential information about the cover-up. They either did not respond or they came up with some bullshit excuse not to do it. I could go on for days. I will leave you with this, and I've said that 3 times now. I don't want to lie to you. I don't have a lot of hope about this story. I don't have a lot of hope that this will be fixed. I don't have a lot of hope that anyone will go to prison. I don't have a lot of hope that this community will be made whole, because you really can't be made whole. There's permanent damage in people's brains. There's permanent damage in people's organs. People have lost loved ones. There's a lot of people that I know would have been here today, but they're dead. Not at 90, at 40, at 50, at 60. But even if I can't put people in jail, even if I can't fix this for anyone, what I can do is, at the very least, expose what was done to these people, the details, the who, what, when, why, keyword, why it was done. Because if people know the details here, maybe it could help them fight it elsewhere. Because there's a lot of Flints. There's a lot of communities suffering right now, whether it's the water, the air, the soil, fracking, coal mining, plastics, diesel fuel found in water, arsenic in water. And if I expose it here, maybe they will be better equipped to fight it there. So please, please, if you can, I know we don't have a huge audience. We'll cut these clips up. Please. I know there's a lot going on right now between the college campuses and the protests and the Trump trials, and the Supreme Court is hearing Trump's bullshit argument today about presidential immunity. I know there's a lot going on. The NFL draft is tonight. Please, please do not forget, we cannot become numb just because 10 years has passed. We cannot become numb to communities being poisoned. We cannot allow it to be normalized. We cannot allow it to be normalized that politicians can knowingly poison communities and get away with it. We cannot allow it to become normalized that people are poisoned and don't get free health care. We cannot allow it to become normalized that people are poisoned 10 years ago and still don't have clean water, still don't have their pipes replaced. So I will keep screaming to the rooftops about it as long as I got air in my lungs, blood in my body, and you pay for me to keep coming here. Because I can't afford this on my own. Please support us if you can. StatusCoup.com/join. 16 cents a day. That's all I'm asking for. 16 cents a day. Because CNN is not going to be here. MSNBC is not going to be here. Fox is not going to be here. Most of the local media don't even show up to events anymore. They're only here for anniversaries. They don't even come to protests. And frankly, if we're being real, most of independent media ignores these things too. Fortunately, one outlet, Breaking Points, posts our content from time to time, and our documentary, Flint Fatigue, will premiere Sunday, both on our website, flintfatigue.com, and on Breaking Point's YouTube channel. We're premiering that documentary tonight at 8 o'clock in Flint. So if you live in Flint, or if you live nearby, come out tonight, 8 o'clock at the People's Church. I think it's 503 Garland Avenue, if I'm correct. 503 Garland Street or Garland Avenue, but you could look it up. It's called the People's Church in Flint. Please support us, StatusCoup.com/join. It costs money to keep coming back to Flint. We were just in East Palestine. We want to keep covering these kinds of stories. We want to go cover news stories. I'd love to hire more people. I'm getting old, folks. My back hurts. I can't do this on my own. I want to hire more people. John can't be our only camera guy either. He needs a break once in a while. If you're already a member, donate. StatusCoup.com/donate.